Hello and welcome to Twisted Britain, a podcast on true crime in Britain with a sprinkling of the weird and the macabre. And your hosts are me, Bob Dale.
And me, Nadine Roll. We're a couple of friends who met in the pub and developed a friendship based on our mutual love of booze, podcasts and pub quizzes. We met in the Settle Inn in Stirling, and that's where we record.
Each week we'll both tell a story of something twisted. One long and one short one. And we'll decide who goes first.
Based on the flip of a coin.
And this week we've gone up in the world again. Since it's the 10th episode, mini party.
Woo!
We're using a pound coin because the one I found it's gone. We don't have that anymore, so let's just forget about it.
Can't believe you.
I know, I'm really sorry.
How are you?
I'm good, yeah. We're celebrating our 10th episode with some new mic stands.
Woohoo! You can see them on our Instagram.
They're really cool, except it means that we can't see each other's faces for most of this, but never mind.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get used to having this big disc in my face. I can't stop fidgeting with it.
You were quite happy not seeing my face there, but, you know.
No, I'd never say such a thing.
So how's your research gone this week?
Okay. It's a story that I've known for ages because it's from my hometown. It's from when I was younger. It's something that happened very, very close to where I live. I had it all typed out and stuff, and then I lost it. So I've just final kind of seconds thrown together a hodgepodge of information and facts, and I'm going to pepper it with my own little anecdotes about the crime and stuff, so it's going to be pretty awful, but there you go.
Oh, you never know. It might be your best one yet. We'll wait and see. Whereas mine I found because I have I'm down in London this week for work, and I've got an evening off tomorrow where I don't have anything to do, so I was looking for something to do. I was going to go to I had a look at the Met Police museum to see if they had a crime thing on, and they don't, and I thought, right, what can I do? And I've actually booked onto the Jack the Ripper walking tour.
Very nice. Which
I'm quite looking forward to. It'll be good. It's going to piss with rain because I'm going on it. That's all I'm. But during that, I had a look at Madame Tussauds. Now, I had a look at it, but there was absolutely no chance I was going to go because those waxwork doll dummy things freak the shit out of me.
Did they freak you out?
I just can't even look at them. Even the ones up at Stirling Castle, I can't even look at them.
Yeah?
They really freak me out. But I found this story because one of the criminals that is a waxwork in Madame Tussauds is the guy I'm going to talk about this evening.
Okay.
So it's been at least a useful, slightly freaky website occurrence.
I have a confession to make today.
Go on then.
I got slightly day drunk today.
Yeah, well, I was going to say something, but I thought I'd let you do it. So Nadine doesn't need an elocution. Oh God, I've done it again. Elocution lesson. It's just the fact that she's slightly tipsy.
I'm just a bit drunk.
So I'm trying quickly to catch up so that we both sound the same drunk, and she might get away with it that way. But we'll see how this pans out.
It'll be fine.
We've also forgotten to bring fresh batteries for the recorder, so this might be a two-parter.
Things are so professional.
Oh, we do things right.
Sloppy and amateur is, I believe, what we've been described as.
I've been told to stop being a bitch about that. My lovely wife has told me I'm not allowed to be a bitch about things. So,
no, sorry.
Yeah. I've also to stop swearing, so I should probably say stop saying bitch as well. But
maybe.
Anyway, moving on.
Should we flip the coin?
Let's do it. Ready? You calling it?
I'm always calling it. Heads, you go.
Tails.
Ooh.
Your turn.
Thank God I can't get any more drunk before I do mine, because it'll be a mess. Oh, mine's all wet. Oh well. Right. So this is the story of Margaret Gardner. She lived on the main road in Helensburgh, on Sinclair Drive, I think it was. Like Sinclair Street's like the big main road that goes down the middle of the town.
Okay.
And that all the streets kind of stem off of.
Yep.
She lived up at the top of it, which was only about a 5-minute walk from my house.
Oh, cool.
She went missing. And I remember when she went missing, I was 10 years old at the time. And she went...
Not that long ago.
2004. She went missing, and I remember being on the news, this woman was missing. Has anybody seen her? Does anybody know anything? And it was a good 2 months that she was missing for before her husband, John Gardner, was held over suspicion of her murder.
That's the kind of first port of call, is always the significant other.
Yeah, so he was telling everybody, he told, they had 2 children. He was telling the children and friends and family and anybody, that she'd left home, that she was unhappy, that she'd ran away, but not true.
Just not true.
Just not true. So John Gardner, who's from Helensburgh, which is where I'm from, was jailed for 6 years back in 2005.
So is he out now then?
Oh, we'll get there. Yeah, he is.
Right, okay.
Spoiler. He was jailed in 2005 for the culpable homicide of his wife, Margaret, who died back in October 2004.
Right.
So it was October 2004 she went missing, and it turns out that's when she died also.
Yeah, okay.
So he was a former naval officer, He was ordered to serve a further 6 years for perverting the course of justice because he hid her body.
Right.
Her body's never been found.
And most of Helensburgh are all going to be Navy or...
Yeah, so that's why I lived in Helensburgh.
Yeah.
My dad was in the Navy, so I grew up there. Okay. Yeah, so it's a big naval town. Gardner was 58 at the time, John Gardner that is. He told police he killed his wife by accident when she smashed her skull on concrete outside their kitchen door during an argument that they were having. So he says that they were arguing and she kind of fell backwards and smashed her head open, and then he hit her. So
panicked and buried her in the garden.
Well, no, he didn't bury it. So he didn't. He says he later dumped his 55-year-old wife's body in the River Leven, and he told relatives and police that she'd left home and covered for it that way. And yeah, she's still never been found.
Right.
So,
she's never been found to this day?
Yeah, still never been found.
All right.
So, and the big, Helensburgh is like a smallish kind of town, and it's just a big rumour mill, you know?
Yeah, I was telling you the other day, I drove through it for work.
Yeah.
And,
what did that take, 10 seconds?
Oh, it was a lovely journey.
I wouldn't stop.
No, and sadly I was down for another horrific crime that I'll cover another day.
Yeah. So at the time that she went missing, and when she was murdered, at the time on the big main street that she lived on, they were building a cycle path. So they'd dug up loads of bits of the road, and they were expanding the road to build a cycle path into it and stuff. And the rumour around Helensburgh was that she'd been put into the concrete, under the tarmac. Yeah. And that's all. I think that's what people thought for a long time. Also, there's a reservoir up the top of the town, in a duck pond.
Yeah.
And there was rumours that he'd flung her in there. It's just up the road. But he says he put her in the River Leven.
Plenty of places to dispose of a body.
Yeah, pretty much. But we'll come back to that. So, what nailed him for it was when they arrested him, they did a pretty what word am I looking for?
Detailed?
Yeah, extensive forensic search of their house.
Yeah.
And they found...
Thorough.
Thank you, yes. And they found skull fragments in the washing machine.
In the washing machine?
Yeah, so he obviously had small bone fragments, skull fragments on his clothes and washed them after he'd killed her.
Small I'm thinking
hunks of
hunks of bone. I'll just wash these before I chuck them in the river.
No. So it's just small fragments, I think. At the trial, Dr. Marjorie Black, who's a forensic pathologist, said for a piece of bone to be dislodged from the skull so badly that it is forced out of the head, considerable force would have been required, more commonly found in victims bludgeoned by a blunt instrument or hit by a train.
Oh shit, that's
considerable
really hard.
Force.
Yeah, that's train
to get chunks of your skull out of your head. It's pretty you can fracture a skull, but for it to come out of the skin.
Yeah, I mean
that's not a fall down the steps.
You can fall off your bike and fracture your skull, but
yeah.
Not
dislodge it.
Yeah, and end up with some in your washing machine.
Yeah, not good.
Hit her with a hammer or something.
Yeah. She told the High Court, the forensic pathologist she told the High Court in Paisley that the fragmentation of the skull most likely resulted from a fracture, which occurs when the bone is shattered into pieces. Dr. Black said a fall from a considerable height, gunshot or explosion could also result in such an injury.
Wow, so real force, yeah.
Yeah, proper. She told the court that it is really unusual to see bits of bone falling out.
Yeah, I mean... I would not disagree with her. I'm not a forensic pathologist, but I would agree with her. And here's another moment I'm going to take to pepper it with my own anecdotes. So, I don't know where I got this from, and I think it was another Helensburgh rumour, Chinese whisper kind of thing that happened about this fragments of bone in the washing machine, because up until I went and researched this properly and actually looked at all the facts and read all the articles on what happened, I had it in my head that they found her teeth in the tumble dryer. I feel we need a jingle that is just for Nadine's interjections. Here's Nadine's thoughts.
Teeth in the tumble dryer.
Teeth in the tumble dryer.
Yeah, I thought there was... Yeah, and when I talked to my mum about this, me and my mum were talking about it, and she was like, yeah, so did I. So, it wasn't just me.
So it was definitely...
I think it was
a known rumour.
Maybe it was just something in our household.
It's not too far away from skull in the washing machine, I suppose.
Teeth in the tumble dryer, still bones still out your head.
I mean, it goes better, I think.
Yeah, so I always thought that that's what they'd found. That was the evidence that they nailed him for.
Right.
Nah. Oh, yeah, nah. So, it was almost 6 weeks after Mrs. Gardner disappeared that their daughter flew to Scotland from London to see their dad. Because like they still hadn't arrested him at this point.
Right. Okay.
So she came back to see him.
Sorry. When did they think? When did she go missing? The October. And when did he get convicted?
He was arrested. He was held in December. They arrested him.
So it was a couple of months of nothing.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So after 6 weeks, their daughter came back home to like support the father and stuff, and
because he'd be distraught about her going missing, and
So Mr. Gardner is alleged to have told police he would only make a statement if he got a chance to talk to his daughter after they'd arrested him.
Right. Yeah.
When they met, the first thing she asked was, "Is Mum dead?"
I mean, fair assumption, I would suppose.
Yeah. So their daughter is called Fiona Gardner. She told the High Court in Paisley at the trial that her father told her, "I killed her," and that he'd put the body in a river. Miss Gardner said he said that Mum had come at him with a knife. He had turned on her and pushed her. I think he said that she had been making a sandwich when they'd been fighting. She had turned him with a knife in her hand. So that's his defence.
And he hadn't admitted that he'd done it at that point, so it was just her saying that he'd said to her.
He told her, yeah. So I think when I've like not written it down, but I'm sure that I read that he confessed to her, but it was like under like an interview scenario with police present and stuff. So he confessed. He wanted to confess to his daughter.
He confessed to her before confessing in real.
Yeah.
And what kind of sandwich was she making?
Doesn't say. But when we're passing sentence at the High Court in Glasgow, Judge Lord Dawson, who sentenced Gardner, said he had inflicted a deliberate attack on his wife. He said she suffered very serious injuries as a result of the force that was used against her more than once.
Yeah.
Having killed her, and then this is a quote from him, "Having killed her, you now behave in a way that I consider to be a totally inhuman and unnatural way with complete disregard for her self-respect and the feelings of her family." He added, oh, sorry, I've lost my place. Oh, he said, he like goes on to say, you then told what I can only regard as a series of cold-blooded, vicious lies to your own children and your wife's family and friends and the authorities. The distress which that behavior must have caused is almost incalculable. Didn't nail that. By your actions, you not only killed your wife, but denied her the right of being laid to rest in a dignified and proper manner. I regard such behavior as incontemptible. And he also describes the way that he concealed her body. He says that you went about it in the most appalling fashion.
Well,
so the judge was like pretty
brutal, but
yeah, I think he was like yeah.
So we're in no doubt that he definitely killed her.
Oh yeah.
What other than the fact that he said she came at him with a knife and everything like that, was there ever like a definitive reason? Had they been?
I think they were like unhappy in marriage kind of thing. Right, so like when he said that when she went missing and he was like, oh yeah, she's left home, people weren't really like that surprised if that had been true. They were like,
so
okay.
There was some shit going on at home anyway.
Yeah, they weren't like happy. Addressing Donald Finlay, QC, Gardner's defence counsel, the judge cast doubt on Gardner's claims about dumping the body. He said, I love this quote, "If there's one river that I know like the back of my hand in Scotland, it's the River Leven. I know every twist and turn and current, and knowing how the river works, in my personal opinion, I find it very unlikely that the body could never be found having been disposed of there."
It's a proper like, I'm an outdoors old man type sentence.
I fucking know this river. You didn't hide her there. Yeah, but like
I suppose because like even in the especially at that time of year over the winter, you're going to get a load of snow melt and rain and everything in the winter, so you'd expect the body to either like
rise,
flush out or turn up in some variety.
And they dredged it. They went and dredged
so
it.
It's definitely not there then if they dredged it.
They didn't find she's never been found.
No, right. She's under the psychopath.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I reckon so.
Everybody thinks it.
They need to scan that psychopath.
Can you do that?
Like ground penetrating radar and stuff like that would show.
Would you find bone though?
You'd see an anomaly.
Would you?
Yeah, well, that's how they find like all the old foundations for like ancient houses and stuff like that. So yeah, I would imagine
so. Maybe.
I mean, it might be
like it was just like right outside their house. There was like big fucking holes in the ground and stuff. You know.
So he's just chucked her in. And
well, I would think so.
Waited for the excavators to come in and cover her up.
You'd think so, right?
Yeah.
You could do that. Do you know what? And do you know what that reminds me of as well? Is there was this book that I read when I was younger. I've forgotten the author, but the book was called Wilt. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I don't think I have.
It's really funny. It's like a comedy book, and it's really funny. It's about this man. His wife pisses off, and she's like on this holiday. Like they're not that happy at home. She goes on this fabulous holiday by herself, and nobody really knows where she is. He's like unhappy, and he gets pissed one night, and I think he has like, it's something stupid, like he has a blow up doll or something.
Oh well.
And in his like drunken stupor, he like reenacts what it would be like to throw his wife into this pit that's later covered with concrete. And it's this like kind of like hilarious story of like people think that he's murdered his wife, but it's actually just a blow up doll. And then she comes back from the holiday. And I think that's what happened. I read it when I was younger, but it was very funny and it reminds me of that. But this is not so funny.
The fact that you read stories about blow-up dolls when you were younger explains a lot about you, if I'm being honest.
Well, Gardner was released from prison in 2006.
Right.
He was sentenced in 2005.
So he only spent a year in jail?
Yeah. And he was last reportedly... I think so. That's what I've got down.
We'll go with it.
Yep. He was last reportedly... In 2012, there was like a tabloid... Not an expose, but like a tabloid...
some coverage.
A story about him. That he was reportedly living in England and was due to marry a woman that he'd met online.
Poor woman.
Yeah. He also reportedly sold the house in Helensburgh for £33,000. Apparently, he tried to sell it for £275,000, but buyers were put off by the house's past.
Well, I was going to say, because 33 grand for any house is nothing.
Yeah, I know. It's quite, like, it's a nice area as well.
I hope that the woman he's planning on marrying is a mail-order bride that's going to take him for everything he's got.
Well, funny... Because his children did. The two children, Fiona and Graham, sued John, their dad, for the torment and suffering that they'd been through, like that he'd caused them after losing their mum, and they won £50,000 in a personal injury claim.
The sale of the house wouldn't even cover it.
Nope.
What a horrible, horrible man.
Yeah, pretty shitty, isn't it?
And that's...
He, like, lied to his friends and family, like, to his own children. Like, oh yeah, mum just went away, she's left me.
And is the common consensus around town that she's under the psychopath then?
I think so. I mean, that's what I always had in my head and stuff.
But you thought she had teeth in the tumble dryer as well.
I don't know where we got that from, but Mum thought it too, so it's not just me.
That's alright.
I'm going to blame Mum for this one.
I'm more willing to believe your mother as well, to be honest.
Thanks.
And that's a good story.
Thanks.
Well, I say it's a good story. It's also quite creepy that it's like just 5 minutes from your house.
Yeah, it was like 5 minutes up the road from my house.
If he'd taken certainly what I've learned from doing some of the research into some of these killers is once they get a lust for it almost, it happens more and more. Like, you know, he kills someone and we see it in serial killers all around the world. They go, oh, I've done it once, I'll do it again. And, you know, thankfully it didn't happen that we know of anyway. Yeah, wow.
They caught him pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't leave bone fragments in your washing machine.
Yeah, I agree. Hang them out to dry.
Here's another small anecdote, though, before we wrap up on that story, which I'm, like, a bit reluctant to tell, but when I told a couple of friends that I was going to do this story, because I've talked about it loads of times, it's my hometown murder, you know?
Yeah,
you always talk about the ones that you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
They told me that I should tell this anecdote because, one, the people listening are probably the most likely to relate to what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
But here we go anyway. I was 10 years old at the time.
Yep.
And when she went missing, like she just lived up the road from me, and my friend lived very close to where I just around the corner from me. You know, you grew up with your friends living around you and stuff. And me and my friend Amy played detective and tried to solve the case of missing Margaret Gardner.
You were always going to be a true crime podcast host, weren't you?
This is like the added. That's why I'm telling it, is because even at 10 years old, still fascinated by true crime, and was I'm gonna solve it. And I was walking around just random, not even their street, my street and stuff, looking at rocks a clue. Such a strange child.
Did you keep the rocks though?
I kept a detective's notebook.
Have you still got that?
I don't know. No, I don't think so.
You need to have a look. If you've got that, we need to post it. I want to read those notes.
Is that bad? Do you think that's bad? I made a game out of it. It's a bit sick.
I mean, when you put it that way, yeah. But then look where you are now. It's not surprising.
Yeah. Well, so
and
even
on
at 10.
generally twisted note, I've just finished my pint, so I'm going to go and try and catch up with you a bit more.
Yeah, do it. I'm trying to slow down a little bit here.
Yeah, we'll see you in a bit.
Bye.
So since Nadine was telling me during our little break there that she didn't quite finish her anecdote there, we'll let her just do her bit before I start on.
Right, so my little detective book. My brother found it, read it, and then told me I was sick.
So when did he find it?
Where?
When?
Well, when? I don't know. Like at the time, I think.
I was going to say like 2 weeks ago.
No, like at the time. And he was like, "This isn't a joke, Nadine. It's not funny." And I didn't think it was funny.
You were trying to solve it.
I was trying to solve it.
You were trying to be a helpful member of society.
Yeah, he told me I was sick. I've got a lot of shame attached to that detective book. I think I binned it.
I hope not. I really
I'll
want you
find
to
it
find
one day.
So, like I said earlier, I found this case because I was looking at the Madame Tussauds website.
Yeah.
And from what I gather, there is 3 historic criminals that they've got waxworks of.
Right.
They've got Hitler, Dr.
Tasteless.
Bit tasteless, but I suppose he's...
Says me keeping detective diaries about missing
indeed.
women. Pot kettle black.
They've got Hitler, they've got Dr. Crippen, and then they've got this guy.
I don't know if I know. Do I know Dr. Crippen?
We'll cover him another day.
No,
don't
right.
worry about it. So this is a guy called Charles Peace.
No, I've not heard of him.
No? So he was basically Sheffield's most notorious criminal.
Okay.
Well, that's how he's billed anyway. He's got a couple of different names about it, but I'm not going to use any of their headline names at all.
Okay.
I'll just kind of... He was known as Charlie Pierce. Peace. Born in Darnall in Sheffield in the 14th of May, 1832.
Okie dokie.
He was the youngest of 4 children. Now, I hadn't written this down, but when I was thinking about it earlier, I had to tell you this.
Okay.
So his dad was a lion tamer in the circus.
That's pretty gnarly.
Except a lion bit his leg off. So
Serves you right.
he had a rather different upbringing, I would say. But anyway, so he was the youngest of...
Also, I don't condone animals in circuses.
No, but this was 1830s, so
Yeah.
fair enough. Like I say, he was the youngest of 4 children. On his 14th birthday, he was working in the local steel mill. It was like they were rolling steel flat for sheets. And he had his leg accidentally pierced with a red-hot piece of steel.
Ooh.
He was left with a permanent damage to his leg and it was kind of crippled for life. But it didn't stop Charlie becoming one of the UK's most prolific cat burglars. Now, when I read that, I thought, oh, cat burglar, like, cool. Like,
Yeah.
He must have been, like, sneaky and good. He wasn't very good.
Oh.
He kept at it, though. But, so his...
Yeah, well, practice makes perfect.
It didn't. So his criminal career started at around about 1846. And his kind of signature crime at the time was he faked collapsing.
Okay.
And as people kind of ran to grab him, he'd just pickpocket them.
It's a pretty good trick.
He wasn't just talented as a criminal. He was also a very accomplished violin player and dabbled in amateur dramatics.
Oh.
However, these interests were halted by 4 convictions, all between 1851 and 1866.
Okay.
His chosen path was that of house burglary, and he was notorious for carrying around a collapsible ladder. Which...
That doesn't really fit in your pocket, though, does it? Huh?
Well, when you see pictures of it, it's really cool, actually.
Is it like one of these, like, kind of comedy, like, open a suitcase, ladder comes, like, rolling out?
Not quite that bad. It was a wooden thing that was all hinged and everything. They've got it in the Met Police Museum.
That's pretty cool. I don't think I'd want to climb up a ladder that could collapse. Like a foldable ladder. I presume there's, like, locking mechanisms, but...
You would hope so, but I think it was collapsible to the point where he could hide it when he was out and about.
That's pretty good.
He would attract the attention of passerby. He'd use the ladder to climb to the top floors of houses and kind of get in the windows and steal anything from jewellery. And on actually one occasion, he stole 7 pairs of boots. At the age of 19, in 1851, he was caught and arrested for burglary. He only served 1 month in prison, and after his release, went straight back to what he knew best.
1 month's not too bad, is it?
There was, because he'd had a really kind of shitty upbringing and everything, they were quite lenient on him. However, after his release, he tried to make it as a musician, and he tried playing violin and making it that way, but it didn't keep him interested enough that he decided to just go back to his kind of chosen career path. He was caught again in 1954, and this time he was sentenced to 4 years. He was released. He served all 4 years, and he was released in 1958. At which point he married a widow by the name of Hannah Ward, who already had a son, Willie, to, I presume, a past relationship.
Yeah. Well, probably her dead husband.
I would imagine so, yeah. He, at that time, tried to go straight, and they opened a framing business.
Do you know, right, pause here. Framers, right? They still exist, like framing shops. I see them all the time.
Oh, yeah, we used one this year.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got one of my photos taken
Oh, yeah.
blown up.
Oh, the one in your living room?
Yeah, the one up in my living room.
One. But I just always, whenever I pass one, I think, like, how much business is there in framing?
You'd be surprised. Like, I queued when I went in to get ours done, and it's not a cheap thing to get done either.
Yeah?
So
do they build them to size?
Yeah, you take in what you want,
Oh, okay,
and they
that's
build it
quite
around
crafty. I didn't, like, know if it was just, like, a shop full of frames and they just find one that fits.
Actually, what they produce is much more stunning than anything you would buy and just put a picture in.
Fair enough.
It's definitely worth it.
No, I've just always, like, passed them and thought,
Bob's thought for the day, use a framer. So not long after the marriage, he was arrested again, this time in Manchester, and received a sentence of 6 years. And served the full 6 years and was released in 1864. Mm-hmm. He managed a whole 2 years out of jail this time. He was
good going, Charlie.
Arrested again in 1866 and was sentenced to 8 years this time.
Ramping up 1 month, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years.
Yeah, and actually it's in a period of like 19 years or something like that, and he spent maybe 16 or 17 of them in jail.
Jeez.
However, this time when he went to jail, Hannah was pregnant with his son while he was locked up. They kind of put that down.
Is something going to happen to his leg? It feels like a family trait.
Something happened to his son, but...
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so around about the time the son was born, Charlie tried to escape from jail, and he made a makeshift saw out of tin. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing, when they said tin, I'm guessing like tins of things rather than just a sheet of tin.
Yeah, where are you going to get a sheet of tin from in prison?
So I'm guessing like tins of something.
Yeah, okay.
He also made a ladder, which he was obviously very good at.
Loves a ladder.
He climbed off the top of his cell and he cut a hole in the roof.
That's not too shabby saw he's made there, if you can cut through your roof.
He was seen by a prison guard climbing out of the hole in the roof. Now, I have this image in my head of just somebody walking past and going, ooh, that's his legs. Just like disappearing at the top of the cell. He made it onto the roof of the prison and into the warden's accommodation, where he stole one of the warden's suits to put on.
Amazing.
The prison went on a high alert, obviously, at that point, and he was captured in the warden's apartment and placed back in his cell. He spent the next 6 years of his sentence being moved around different prisons, like he constantly shifting around. And I think it was 5 or 6 prisons in 6 years he was in. He was finally released in 1872, and him and his family moved to Britannia Road in Darnall.
Okay.
Where he kind of became obsessed, or like kind of besotted with the woman next door.
Oh.
So the woman next door was Catherine Dyson. She was the wife of Arthur Dyson. He was an engineer in the local area and considered Charlie a friend at this point, but didn't realise that he was obsessed
with... A nasty
with
bastard.
A bad bastard,
No,
yes.
Sorry.
Charlie insisted that they'd become an item, that she was his mistress.
Oh, God.
Although there seems to be no kind of evidence that it was reciprocated in any way. Like, they did go to pubs and clubs and out together.
You like socialise, but you know, you go out with your mates. I'm at the pub with you right now.
Well, yeah, indeed. And you wouldn't have me as a mistress, so there we are.
I would not. Don't ask again.
Thanks for that. They, from all accounts that I could find, they didn't have a sexual relationship, but they had a relationship of some variety. It all got a bit much for Catherine, and in 1875 she kind of tried to just distance herself from whatever the relationship her and Charlie had.
Yeah.
And he didn't take that too well. He started to kind of stalk her and threaten her and Mr. Dyson, Arthur, to the point where Arthur took out an injunction against him, hoping he would just go away.
Yeah.
He did. He went away for a while. Charlie and the family moved to Hull. Now, I've put in my notes here that actually I have no idea what happened to his family, because all the accounts are of Charlie.
Right.
The family did go with him.
Right.
I'll mention that later on, but there's no account of what actually happened. They obviously moved to Hull together as a family. The stepson, the son, and him and Hannah. And he basically just got there and started burgling again.
Ugh. Charlie, you're doing so well.
Well, so on the night of the 1st of August, 1876, Charlie was spotted by 2 police officers entering the grounds of a private residence in the Whalley Range area of Manchester.
Ooh.
PC Nicholas Cook tried to intercept him, to arrest him.
Yeah.
And when he caught up with him, Charlie took out a pistol and shot it. Not at him, but like a
warning shot.
Yeah, back up. This is a warning shot. But PC Cook just took out his truncheon and advanced on him.
Nice.
At which point, Charlie shot him.
Oh, shit.
And mortally wounded him, and he died the next day.
Oh.
I couldn't see where he shot him, but I think it was just a kind of fuck off, shot him in the chest type thing. And he died the following day. Charlie managed to escape that night in the dark, and kind of luckily for him, there was 2 local brothers that were known to the police, John and William Habron, and they were arrested for the crime because obviously Officer Cook
couldn't tell anybody,
and they assumed that it was these guys.
That's shit.
So they were tried for murder. John was acquitted because of the lack of evidence, but William was sentenced to death.
Oh shit.
That was later commuted to a life of penal servitude.
Oof.
So penal servitude being just, you get that
it's
image.
like labour.
Yeah, it's hard labour. It's that image of like breaking rocks on the railway and stuff. I know that's very American, but that's that kind of hard labour type thing. In fact, when we talked about the Peterborough,
I was going to say they built the railway, didn't they?
Exactly. That was penal servitude. I also quite like saying penal servitude.
Say it again.
Penal servitude.
Thank you.
Charlie, at this point, made an appearance at the trial.
Oh, no way.
He kind of did it to make sure that he wasn't ever going to be seen as a suspect. Why would I be at the trial if I'm a suspect?
I mean, I don't know how solid logic that is.
It's a form of logic. He was also later kind of quoted as saying he enjoyed the whole thing immensely.
Wouldn't it be the same as returning, like the classic, returning to the scene of the crime and being like, well, why would I be here if I'd done it?
Yeah,
You'd
exactly
be like, because you come to look at your crime.
Yeah.
You've come to gloat.
Well, that's exactly what I'd done. He'd gone to make sure that if somebody's been tried for this, I'm not going to be. So, sadly, his obsession with Catherine Dyson hadn't
subsided
faltered at all. And it came to a head later on that year on the 29th of November. Whilst in Sheffield, now, I read a few things about why he was in Sheffield.
He's been travelling around, hasn't he?
He moved around a lot. There was something to do with him being in Sheffield to speak to a priest, and there was other bits and pieces about...
Sure, there was a priest in Hull.
There was a burglary. Well, Sheffield was his hometown.
Yeah, okay.
There's other things about whether he was up there burglaring.
Burglarizing? Is that
burglarizing? Yes, committing burglary. Either way, he ended up at the Dyson's house,
right? Where
he found Catherine in the garden visiting the outhouse. He waited outside the outhouse to try and speak to her, but she was having none of it.
Fair.
He threatened her with his revolver, going, "You need to speak to me. You need. We need to talk."
Now I want to talk.
Exactly. She obviously was making a massive fuss about it and tried to get away.
Yeah.
And Arthur came running into the garden to confront him.
Oh, I know what's happening.
And Catherine ran back into the house.
Okay.
She reported hearing 2 gunshots. Presumably, he's done the same thing as he did with the cop.
Yeah.
Go away. 1 shot. The second shot was definitely not a go away because he shot him point blank in the head.
Oh.
Charlie fled the scene and went back to Hull.
Right.
And went into hiding in the family home. So this is the next kind of evidence that he was still living with Hannah and the kids at that point. However, I think the son that him and Hannah had together had died.
Oh.
I think while he was in prison, it was because the son that they had together was never referenced again.
Right.
But Willie, the older, was still there. Whilst he was in hiding at the family home, 2 police officers came looking for him, and he hid behind the chimney on the roof.
Shut up.
Amazing.
Did it work?
Yep.
Damn it.
They didn't find him. They came back several times looking for him, and he just hid on the roof, as you do. Well, he was good at
enough place, eh?
Well, he was good at ladders.
Yeah, he probably had his foldable one up there with him.
At which point there was £100 reward put out on his head. Now I didn't
then money.
I didn't do the inflation calculator for that, but I could roughly guess it'd be about 12 grand.
Yeah, that's pretty
there
good.
or thereabouts. So there was a ransom not a ransom because that's not the right a reward issued for him.
It's like a bounty, isn't it?
I don't think it is that in this country. I think it's a case of like, we'll give you a reward for giving us information that leads to the arrest. It's not like if you catch him, we'll give you the money.
Man, I love that show, Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Well, he's a bad bastard as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
And he hit the top of the police's most wanted list.
Shit.
So he was the most wanted man in the UK at this point.
That's mental.
So this is the description issued by the police. Charles Pierce, wanted for murder on the night of the 29th. He is thin and slightly built, from 45 to 60 years of age, 5 feet 4 inches or 5 feet 5 high, grey, nearly white beard, and whiskers.
Cat.
There's a lovely
cat
comma
burglar.
just after beard and whiskers.
And whiskers.
He lacks the use of 3 fingers on the left hand, walks with his legs rather wide apart, speaks somewhat peculiarly as if his tongue were too large for his mouth,
Shergar.
and is a great boaster.
My God, that's a description.
He is a picture frame maker. He occasionally cleans and repairs clocks and watches, and sometimes deals in oleographs, which I don't know what they are.
Should have Googled it.
Should have. Does engravings and pictures.
I'm
He has
gonna
been in
Google-
penal servitude for burglary in Manchester.
Just in case he happens to mention that to you.
Yeah. He's lived in Manchester, Salford, Liverpool and Hull. Now, it's not a perfectly accurate description of him because he was about 10 years younger than the description. And Charlie, having read the description,
Decided to walk with his legs a bit closer together.
shaved off his beard
And whiskers.
and his whiskers and started wearing a prosthetic arm. And decided to go constantly on the move.
Well,
So
fair.
they moved around a lot after that.
Do you want to know what an oleograph is?
I do.
A print textured to resemble an oil painting.
There you go. So whilst on the move, he was in Nottingham at one point. Now, this bit confused me a bit. So I guess he went on the run on his own. He didn't take the family with
Right.
him. I think the family stayed in Hull and he went around.
I wouldn't go with him.
The fact that she stayed with him at all.
Yeah, it's a bit mental.
So whilst he was in Nottingham, he met a woman who became his mistress, Sue Thompson. She would be the one that finally betrayed him.
Oh, good for you, Sue.
The two of them ended up in London, where it didn't take long for him to start back up the job he'd always had. He started burglarizing
Yeah.
again. And at this time, the burglaries were quite profitable because he was in the big city and he was
Finally
robbing.
gotten better at it.
Yeah, I guess he probably had. It got to the point where they had enough money for him and Susan to move into a house in Greenwich, where they rented both parts of a semi-detached house.
No, that's quite impressive.
One house for the mistress and the other house for the wife and family.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so I guess there was some kind of knowledge of what was going on with Hannah anyway.
Yeah.
And they even managed to upgrade again to Peckham. And it was mainly because Sue didn't like the area they were living in that they moved to Peckham.
God, Sue.
So during this time, he went by the name of Mr. Thompson.
Okay.
He was a wanted man.
Took Sue's name there.
And he made the area of Blackheath his kind of regular ground for burglaries. And in that time, around about 1878, so it was 77 to 79, he'd had quite a few close calls with the local constabulary.
Right.
But they only thought he was a burglar. They didn't know he was
wanted.
the guy that was wanted for murder.
Yeah.
They just knew there was a burglar in the area.
Yeah.
It was eventually his complacency that got him caught.
Yeah.
So Peace was finally caught on the 10th of October, 1878, at around about 2 a.m. P.C. Robinson saw a light appear suddenly in a window at the back of a house in St. John's Park. He and 2 colleagues approached the house and they rang the bell. Peace tried to escape through the garden and fired 4 shots at the cops as they ran away, but they closed in on him and managed to trap him. Even though the 5th shot had hit PC Robinson and shot him straight through the arm. At this point, they didn't know who he was, just that he was a burglar.
Yeah. And now he's shooting at them, so...
So whilst in custody, Charlie refused to give up his true identity for about a week. But Sue had also been arrested around about the same time for trying to sell on stolen goods. Oh. And she gave up Charlie's identity trying to claim the reward.
Oh.
Didn't work.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Well, they didn't give her the reward, funnily enough. But I couldn't read whether she got prosecuted or not. But,
right.
She didn't get the 12 grand, the 100 quid that she was looking for.
It doesn't work that way, sweetheart.
But because she'd said who he was, they brought a police officer down from Yorkshire who positively identified him as Charlie Pierce, and he was taken for trial at the Old Bailey.
Right.
Now,
again!
I know. I've actually put in brackets in my notes, I know.
You're ready.
Made it quite far into this one without realising it was the Old Bailey. He was tried for burglary and the attempted murder of PC Robinson, which he was given a life sentence for.
Right. Good.
He still had to answer for the charges of murder against Mr. Dyson. Mr. Dyson.
Good.
So he was moved by train from London to Sheffield
Nice.
to stand trial. Of course, Charlie tried to escape.
Did he have a ladder?
No, he just jumped off the train.
Good enough.
He jumped off the train while it was
his
moving.
leg?
No, he was found lying unconscious next to the track about 10 minutes later.
Silly bugger.
So, whilst on trial in Yorkshire for the murder of Mr. Dyson, his defence basically tried to make out that Charlie and Catherine were in a very close sexual relationship,
right.
and that she was she was not as bad as he was, but in on it as much as he was, and that Arthur Dyson had confronted them and been the aggressor, and Charlie had acted in self-defence. However, Catherine was basically the kind of star witness for the Crown, and she denied all of it. She continued to deny all of it till the end of her life.
Yeah.
That nothing ever happened between them. And she said she basically gave the account that he'd come to see her.
Yeah.
She was scared of him.
Yeah.
He'd killed her husband and then run off.
Right.
They also managed to show that the bullet taken from Arthur Dyson's head had come from the revolver that Charlie Peace carried.
Right.
So they knew it was him that had killed him.
Yeah.
Although I think there was no doubt about the fact that
he'd done it, but they're just trying to frame it that it was self-defense-ish or something.
It took the jury 10 minutes of deliberations to return a guilty verdict, and the judge took great pleasure in passing the death sentence.
Bloody hell.
While awaiting hanging, he admitted the murder of Nicholas Cook, and as such, William Habron was released.
Oh.
He was also given...
Oh, good. Right, okay.
He was given £800 in compensation, which I have done the maths on, and that's about 93 grand.
Holy shit.
Having spent 3 years in jail for a crime that he didn't commit.
Fair.
Charlie Peace was executed at 8 a.m. on the 25th of February, 1879, on the gallows in the prison. So it wasn't a public execution. They were just like, we need to get rid of this guy. The hangman at the time said he needs a long drop to make sure of his death. And they ended up digging a 4-foot pit below the gallows.
Whoa.
So they could use a 9-foot rope. And as such, he died pretty much instantly. There was 4 newspaper journalists at the prison at the time. And he had asked if he could speak. He actually asked, can I have a drink of water? And they said no. They asked if he could speak to the press, and they allowed him to speak to the press. And he basically said, I'm not guilty of murder. I was acting in self-defense, or I'm paraphrasing slightly. They didn't. I don't think they actually reported that at the time. They just reported.
Why did they need a 9-foot rope just for him?
So there's that whole thing about the long drop.
Yeah.
So
but why didn't everybody get that?
Well, there's the different versions of hanging. So there's the short drop where you were strangled to death.
Right.
Which basically.
And then there's the neck snap.
And the neck snap is the long drop, and they decided they were going to just end him. Fair. So like I say, they dug the pit and dropped him 9 foot. It was 9 foot something that the hangman has a way of working it out.
Jeez.
After his death, Catherine Dyson said, "The place to which the wicked go is not bad enough for him. I think its occupants, bad as they might be, are too good to be where he is. No matter where he goes, I'm satisfied there will be hell. Not even Shakespeare could adequately paint such a man as he has been."
What a quote.
But, I mean, she must have been a pretty bloody clever woman. I love that. Not even Shakespeare could adequately paint a man such as he has been.
That's mental. That's a great quote.
So that's the story of Charlie Peace, who
Bloody
was
hell.
the UK's most wanted man in the 1870s.
So is that why he's got a waxwork?
So I couldn't understand why him over other criminals have a waxwork.
Yeah.
I think it's because he confessed, he claimed his innocence throughout. But the waxwork that's at Madame Tussauds is of him sitting with the hangman.
Should be him up a ladder.
Waiting to go. It should be him. Should be him washing windows. I'm going to put aside my fear of waxworks. And I'm going to go and see it at some point.
Oh, do it. Take a photo. Get a selfie with him.
I'll get a selfie with him. For the sole fact that I actually found the case really fascinating when I was looking at it. I used 3 or 4 different sources, and every one of them's got, like you'll have found when you look at these things, everyone's got a slightly different version of what actually happened. There's bits and pieces I left out of that story that it would have taken too much for me to try and kind of put it across in my words.
Yeah.
But he was an incredibly interesting man, to the point where there must have been something about him to evade the authorities for so long, and get away with almost get away with 2 non-cold-blooded murders. Like, they just were at the time done it.
Yeah.
To the point where he's a waxwork, and the Met Police are exhibiting his ladder. So there must be something about him that has kind of intrigued loads and loads of people. And actually, I don't know what it is that intrigued me about him, but having read the story, I really enjoyed reading about this one, actually.
Do you know what intrigued me about him?
Go on then.
Whiskers and the wide stance. That's my kind of man.
You love a whiskered wide stand man.
He's not got use of the 3 fingers on his left hand or whatever.
I'll tell you what, he is not a handsome man when you look at photos.
How's he getting all these mistresses?
He had a lot of jewellery nicked from other people and several pairs of boots.
That was good. No, I enjoyed that though.
There you go.
That's really good.
I think it's the first one, not the first one that I've thoroughly enjoyed looking at, but it's one of those ones that by happenstance you come across and just go, I'm going to read what that's about, and then I've come up with like a story about it that I quite enjoyed.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it too. Well told.
If you guys enjoyed it, let us know.
Yeah. Also, a bit of advice: if you ever do commit a murder, don't put the bone fragments in the washing machine, and carry a ladder in case you need to get up on that roof high behind a chimney.
We don't advocate murder.
We don't.
Spoiler alert, we don't advocate murder. If you do like what you hear with us, please do
let us know.
Give us a review or a rating on iTunes or Stitcher or Castbox or wherever you choose to listen to your podcast.
We're on all of them.
We are on all of them. We're also on all the social media sites. You can find us at Twitter.
Twisted Britain.
You can find us on Facebook.
Twisted Britain.
And you can find us on Instagram.
Twisted Britain.
Where you'll see our lovely picture of our 10-episode gifts to ourselves.
Yay! Also, on Facebook, we've now got our discussion group going.
Which I noticed you changed the spelling of to be...
You put 2 S's.
I noticed that.
In the wrong bit. Yes, so you can find that by just searching for Twisted Britain discussion group. It's been quite nice, yeah. We've been talking to some folks.
There's some nice group of people there, and they've all said hello so far, and I'm enjoying kind of talking back to them, and actually we need to do more of it.
Yeah, we need to be more present, I think, on social media. Also, shout out to the lovely women who, I should have got this up beforehand, I haven't. Apologies, you know who you are. Thanks for backing me up and saying that you swear along with me. I feel a lot better.
I kind of feel like you're just both swearing at me.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think I've got anything else tonight.
No, I don't think so.
I'm going to go and finish my drink and see if I can get as drunk as you.
Yeah, get that whiskey down you.
See you later, everyone.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.
Bye.